Mate, this is gonna be a quicker episode. Let all the viewers know from the very beginning. It is I'll get to the time and the date and the episodes and all that stuff. My week's been pretty simple. I've just been chilling, man. I did last London online. No players were there. It's always a weird environment doing online now. It feels like we go back to COVID era. I start to have like horrible flashbacks of that time. But the event did give us some crazy results. Could talk about that in a bit more detail. I just spent the last 2 days with my son, so I'm absolutely cream crackered right now. I am mega tired from rolling. Like, I took a flight at 7 a.m. So I left the hotel. I woke up at 4 a.m. the day to leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Landed in London. Saw my son instantly because he's off school holidays. And then did all the crazy stuff you do with your, like, it was obviously I missed his birthday
It
because
was
I was
his
at Blast.
birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. So I missed his birthday on the 26th of August. So I needed to celebrate it with him here. And then we like went cinema. We were playing, we opened the presents, we played with the presents. And then I remember I was like talking to my wife and I was thinking, I'm going to fall asleep. By the way, I slept in a cinema. I fell asleep in a cinema. That's how tired I was when we were watching this.
What did you watch? What was so bad? What has a negative
No, it was
review
really
right now?
good. It was really good. It was that Bad Guys 2. It's like kids cartoon thingy. It's actually quite funny. It's
Ah.
actually jokes. It's actually so good. But I literally was dying. I couldn't stay awake. And then this morning I had to wake up to go do my Chinese visa. So I woke up at 7 a.m. again. So I've got this like Whoop thing. I don't know if you know about that, like the health tracking thing. And it doesn't like my sleep quality right now. My sleep quality is terrible. What I'm gonna do though after this episode, I'm gonna sleep in before media day, and then the next day before the arena, I'm gonna get 12 plus hours. I can't wait. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've actually gotten a new addiction, gaming
Oh
wise.
no.
I'm
Oh
back
no.
to
What
Deadlock
now?
a bit. So I'm
Mm,
deadlocking. Been playing a
tell
little
me.
bit with Freiburg. So what do you
Okay.
want me to tell you about Deadlock?
Is the game back? Because I've not played it. Last time I
Yeah.
played it was when it was like first coming out. But I saw a lot of people talking like the player base is going up. This game's like getting alive again. Like, is it back? Is it legit? It's not a game that's just gonna go die
It's
out.
much better now. I mean, when I played like almost over a year ago, I think last time.
Okay.
And back then it was 4 lanes, now it's 3 lanes, and they've added like since then probably 10 more heroes or champions or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty nice. They've changed a lot of things. Like the whole map is different. So I don't
Are
know.
you doing
For
ranked?
people who every day ranked. But it is a
Why?
really fun game. But we're obviously here to talk about Counter Strike and not Deadlock. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's been my week.
So that's what you've been doing. Did you watch some of Blast as well, or was it just full Deadlock?
Yes.
Am I doing this
No.
episode on my own? Okay, no, you're still included in today's podcast then, because
Yes.
otherwise you'd be missing. All right, well let's
No,
do it then.
I started playing
Oh,
in the weekend, so I didn't play the entirety of 2 weeks.
that would have been very keen. I wouldn't put
Yeah.
it past you, by the way. You're definitely a person possible of just grinding a game for 2 weeks. I remember the Marvel Rivals
Yes.
itch you had,
Yes.
yeah. So what was the other one? Age of Empires at one point. Then you went back to Warcraft
Yes.
3. Yeah, you've been through it all. Don't worry, you're all gonna lose me on the 8th of September. Sorry, 9th of September. Day after Blast finishes, Dragon Ball Squadra comes out. That MOBA style Dragon Ball game. I'm just gonna say it's all I'm gonna be streaming for like as long as possible. Like there'll be no
So
CS, there'll
no
be no nothing.
RuneScape. No
No
RuneScape.
RuneScape. There's gonna be
Wow.
nothing but Dragon Ball Squadra. I'm telling you that now. It's got the most awesome character list. Um, I've been tweeting it. I've been posting about it. I can't wait. A good
All right.
hyped up Dragon Ball game. That's gonna be fun.
I'll
All right,
have
let's get
to
into our
look it up.
episodes so we don't end up being here till God knows when. So right now for me it is Wednesday the 3rd of September in the UK in lovely wet and cold London. It is 11:41 at night. For Devilwalk, it is
The 4th.
12:41 on the 4th of September. This time, you're the one who's ahead of me. We don't normally have that. It's not normally this time of the pond for me. So that's a
True,
first.
true.
That works. No, maybe not a first. Was America? I don't know how time zones work. But anyway, it's episode 24 of the All About Counter-Strike podcast. We're grinding through it all. In today's episode, we're going to cover, obviously, a lot of Blast Online London preview, like just have a look back at that. Review of Blast London, and then go into
review.
our preview of the finals. Obviously, we're going to the arena. I think the first thing we'll do is we'll just touch on our predictions for the opening matchups, because we both got one wrong, right? We both messed up a little bit.
Different ones.
So different ones, yeah, different ones in here. So Vitality M80, we both got that right in Vitality. GamerLegion versus Virtus.pro. You went Virtus.pro. You fell for that same old trick again. Yeah, Virtus.pro just they'd love to do this to people.
I'm over Virtus.pro now.
Finally, it's only taken us half a year, 9 months.
But they're so good at giving you hope all of a sudden, like randomly. Like they do one good event, they start to look better, then they just fall flat again. And it's annoying to predict because they could literally win against anyone. And they could lose against anyone.
I can't wait to talk about them later. I cannot. When we get onto the actual results of the whole tournament, I cannot wait to talk about them later. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, I did pick GamerLegion, and I'm happy I picked that. We both picked FaZe over Ecstatic, which is positive. FaZe looking better. NAVI, Fnatic. We did both pick NAVI, but you said Fnatic would get one map. Didn't happen.
Yep.
Mouse Imperial both went Mouse. Now, this is, by the way, I'm even going to say I was completely like, I am an absolute idiot. G2 Liquid. You picked G2, I picked Liquid. I could have gone for clean every game correct if I just used my brain. I put too much faith and belief in Flashy, and he's not even playing. He's the coach. There's only so much this guy can do with this team. So, yeah, G2 beat Liquid. So I failed that one. Spirit FlyQuest, it was an obvious Spirit. Furia Legacy, we both went Furia. We like what we're seeing there. Then qualifying teams, it gets wild because we picked exactly the same. Oh, and should we tell people now, Devilwalk?
About
how we're going to do predictions and our thoughts going forward?
We're changing the way we do predictions. So right now, we've had this kind of like, oh, you're following me, you're copying my answers kind of deal.
Yeah.
So we're trying to eliminate that now. So we've already done our predictions. We've written it down, sent it to our producer. So we don't know each other once, but our producer knows what we have already predicted. And we'll go through it as it comes in kind of the same way, I assume, where we just kind of read out our text message later in the show.
And this means that like there's no more Devilwalk says something and I just agree with him, or I say something he agrees with me. We've already done this without talking, and then we'll just have to come back onto it all. Oh, actually, do you know what? I'm going to take this moment to say, shout out Jason Moses O'Toole one time. He recommended me, I don't know if you can see it, but this mic stand. So my mic now is no longer 6 foot in the air because my mic stand was so huge. This is now much more small and grounded, actually lighter for my suitcase as well. So shout out to him one time, come with a recommendation because this is far better than the one I had before. You know, the mic stand I had before for travel had a base weight, like a big circular weight, and it was 1.5 kg in my suitcase or my backpack every time. So this is a million times better. This is great. I'm very happy.
So now your wife can fit in a lot of new dresses.
She can buy more stuff to put in the suitcase. Yeah, definitely. So qualifying teams, right? Group A, we both said Vitality, NAVI, VP. And Group B, we both said Mal's, Spirit, Furia. Group B, we did a lot better on. Obviously, Spirit didn't make it through, which is a huge shock. NAVI and VP. Why did we both get into the source of VP? Like, what happened to us? Did we just start believing Perfecto was going to change it all? Oh,
I mean, they've obviously not changed at all. They've made changes now, but a little bit too. I don't know what happened. I feel like I don't know. It looks like I've convinced you into the VP train in this episode because you didn't even predict VP to
first map.
Yeah. The first game you predicted them to lose, and then you went on to predict them to qualify, which doesn't make sense at all. That they would. You predicted essentially a lower bracket run from VP to win the final.
When you say it like this, that's why I said I'm really stupid. Like when you say it like this, I am the dumbest of dumb. but because what I did made no sense. So I just played myself from the very beginning. We both did back then say the overall winner of the whole event will be Vitality as well. So
Yeah.
let's start going through this, right? Let's start going through. I'm just looking down the team list. I'm going to touch on, I'm going to quickly brush over some teams. Tell me if you want to talk about them in any more detail. But like Ecstatic, Legacy, Imperial, I haven't really got too much to say on those three. They went out
Oh,
in
I
13th to
mean, no.
16th place. There's no real surprise. I'll just say this.
I'll say
Legacy.
one thing
Okay.
about Ecstatic. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
if Ecstatic had an like competent AWPer for tier 1, they would have won the game against FaZe. I think,
True.
unfortunately, Christo had a terrible showing,
And then got kicked.
which, yeah, eventually made him lose his spot in Ecstatic,
Yep.
because he was not relevant at all during this game. And it was a really close game. They had 13-10 versus FaZe, win on overpass. They got 13-0'd, but brought it to overtime, the third map on Inferno. And yeah, some of those players looked really, really good. And it could have, you know, eventually, FaZe went on to qualify for the event in the upper bracket final. So
Yep.
that's not a bad result from Ecstatic, even though, obviously they got kind of
Just need a
battered by
little bit
Fnatic
more. Yeah.
in the lower bracket run. But there's still, good signs that they could compete against someone like FaZe in that manner, especially with your AWPer not showing up on maps like Overpass and Dust 2 in the pool.
Which are both great maps for AWPers. So yeah,
Yep.
not. It makes sense why they made the moves they did make. I'm going to give a couple of things on the legacy situation because at Austin, obviously it was a breakthrough event, right? Everyone was hyped about them. Oh, this is going to look like a new Brazilian team coming up. That was the high point, and ever since then, it's been like them not playing up to standard or up to maybe what people were expecting. But where I don't think it's so much they've fallen off. I just think they had a big overperformance at Austin, and now it's more like a reality check. But like then they lose to FlyQuest as well, and I feel like that's a game at least where they should have had more of a footing. They did take a map off Furia, and they took a map off FlyQuest, but they didn't
Yep.
wow me in any way this time. There wasn't just one moment where I'm like, yeah, Legacy, let's go kind of thing. But they're going to obviously, when they start losing VRS points as well, they're going to get hit by that and go down the rankings and not get so many invites to events as well. So maybe they need to have a performance again good at the major to see themselves do well.
They seemed like a
Imperial,
really, really momentum-based team in general, Legacy. Like if they have a good start, they,
yeah,
they can kind of roll with it. But if they get shut down early, they just keep struggling. And I mean, apparent in this tournament.
definitely. And then Imperial, I'm not going to be too harsh on the team because they just brought Skulls in. And when I did the interview with them, they said like they had 5 days of practice with Skulls coming in. But they also did remove one of their, like, if you look at all their results they played against other Brazilian teams or South American teams, with SHR, who they removed for Skulls, they were owning. They were qualifying for everything. And then you add Skulls. Now, the whole thing Skulls said was there was a way that this could work. He wanted to go.
Yep.
Really said that Imperial had the chance to get him and they wanted to sign him before, but they couldn't. So when they knew they could, they just wanted to make that change. But it's like, you should have just waited because you probably would have done better with SHR and maybe you just want some more officials or something. But it's like, SHR wasn't bad. So and maybe just because they didn't agree with him, or maybe they
So
just
you,
really
do you
wanted
mean do you
Skulls
mean
really
like
badly.
they should have done a little bit more like the Spirit situation currently, where they kind of like
Yeah.
leave him a little bit of time to kind of get into the groove of things as they prepare for the change in the right moment, rather than just instantly switching him, right?
Yeah, just choose a better timing for it,
Yeah.
because I feel like they could have done more at this event or shown better face if they were able to do that. Obviously, their overpass looked good, but that was about it. That was all there was to sing their praises about. But that's a quick way to breeze through those teams on it. Then we need to talk about the only other 13th to 16th place team, Virtus.pro. And
Yep.
my God. Now, I'll say this, right? For anyone who doesn't know how these kind of things work, I think no matter what result they got, unless maybe they won the whole of Blast Open London, they were already planning to kick Electronic. That's what I would think. Yeah.
I mean, we've criticized him a lot in even this podcast. He's been criticized for almost the entire year for his kind of leading style and how it seems to, because we're still doing guesswork at the end of the day, but it seems like he's affecting the young players. They're in a negative way. He's not really bringing them up. He almost yells at them, and the calling hasn't been great either. I even saw a stat where it was, I think that if you go on HLTV even right now, on the main page, there's like a short. BT Rams release Clawback Bozo 2.0. And essentially, this is losing or getting killed, which eventually, in advantage situation, ends up in round losses. So if you have an entry, for example, and you get killed and then you eventually lose the round, Electronic is the worst player on the entire list. So he has I'll just read out the actual.
Give us the numbers.
So they basically have a system of clawbacks and bozos. Bozos obviously is if you are in an advantage and you get killed and you eventually lose the round, you get a bozo.
So you had a
If you get a
5v4,
clawback,
or if you had a 4v3 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have the clawbacks, which is essentially the reverse, that you're in a disadvantaged position and you
Turn
bring
it
it
around.
back with a kill.
Yep.
So I don't know exactly this. So this is like 0.5 bozos per half he has. So one per game, essentially.
Yep.
And he has in Virtus.pro 4 clawbacks and 23 bozos. So 23 rounds he has lost that kind of opening death in an advantage situation, which has ended up with him. Funnily enough, fourth on that bad list is Perfecto with 22
He's got
ones.
less sample size around him though, right?
Yeah, but he has more clawbacks compared to.
Which would make sense. Wouldn't that also make sense with how some of this works, of those stats based on their position and role?
Yes, obviously that does have an effect, but usually the in-game leader is in a bit more of a free role. Or at least you want them, depending on the map. Mirage, this is everyone's B anchor is is the in-game leader. But on T side, for example, you're usually the guy, in a more free role and setting, trying to kind of set up your best players. But that's damning evidence. There's a good switch.
But what's crazy here about VP, right? You lose the GamerLegion, okay, one thing. Losing to M80, obviously they've qualified for London. I'm not going to take anything away from them. But you just look at the players or the fact that it's a CIS team in Virtus.pro, you would expect better. Yeah? But they lose that game and then instantly Electronics said bench. Now, for everyone out there, it 100% would have been decided anyway before this tournament, most likely, right? That's how I can imagine it going. We got to remember as well, both Flit and Fame were at one point rumored to want to try and leave the team. I don't know if that's because of Electronic. I don't know if they just want to go play maybe with Jame again or something. But then Perfecto joins and
they didn't believe in the team enough to be competitive at the standard they wanted. So,
but they get Perfecto, they stay, yeah. Obviously, Perfecto when he first came in wasn't great. He's still just trying to find his way. He's had a year out of competition, which is always hard to come back on. But then you remove Electronic, you put Perfecto as IGL. You've still got Flamus on the bench that you don't bring back into the team. And I will credit VP for one thing. So they bring in Toro, or however you say his name, from the academy team. Virtus.pro Prodigy has been existing since 2020, so 5 years now, and they have never, ever used one of their academy players to the main team.
Yeah.
Never have they taken one. So this is the first time.
Do you think this is like they promoting this guy as a temporary thing whilst they try to find someone else? Or do you think that this is like Toro is the real deal? We want him. He's the new star player of VP,
Well, I definitely don't think he's going to be a new star player. Looking at, like, he wasn't even the star player of Virtus Prodigy.
Well, I mean, they must have some belief in that he can.
Yeah, I think this is a stopgap. I think this is a waiting. And maybe there's some potential other changes this team might make. But
Yeah.
one thing I would love to see is if, however Perfecto is going to lead, if Icy is going to be able to perform better under him. Because Flip Fame, I can always rely on to do some stuff. Sometimes they have a bad game, like anything. But Icy is like sometimes a non-factor in games. He
Yeah.
has maybe one pop-off game in a series that they win. Sometimes it's just pop-off game when they're not winning, and it looks pretty bad. But if someone can unlock him or let him play a bit more like how he wants to play, then I can get interested. But for now, I'm so out on Icy. Like I don't know what else he can do, because you see glimmers of him looking okay, but I'm not sold on him. But I will say it was a funny narrative to just have like M80 beat VP, which causes electronic benching.
I mean,
It's not funny that
just
he
for
get benched, but you know.
context, just for context of M80 and how bad BP must have felt this loss was. Because if we even look back to the major, I'd say
Yep.
M80 is probably in my top or like bottom 4 teams worst at the major. That's how I would categorize them. I don't even think I'm being unfair, because if you actually look at the major, I thought they were, I predicted them to go out in pretty much the first stage, 0-3.
Mhm.
I had them really, really low. I have to give them, the roses or whatever flowers or whatever you say
Flowers.
in
Yeah, yeah.
English. Because from going from that position to playing this good, because they played good, they played really well.
Yeah.
Um, hats off, because it's a major turnaround, and it's good Counter Strike. They're playing beautiful Counter Strike, and they have players popping off. They're even winning when some of their players aren't doing anything at all, but they're playing as a unit and as a team, and
And
it's nice to watch.
they also, like, when they come into this, they had a lot of inflated stats. Obviously, Hexter's come in, right? And
Yeah,
the one thing I kept saying about Hexter was I've seen us get hyped about him a little bit before when he came into teams, and then it didn't live up. I know he's very positive, he's very vocal as like a person, as a player to have as your
yeah,
teammate, but something is working there because he had some crazy good games. And individually, they looked sharper.
yeah.
And remember, at some points they were playing North American games, yeah, from the UK, from a boot camp in the UK where they were playing the Open London online part,
Didn't they win?
and they did win on like 100+ ping.
That's actually
Obviously, you can
insane.
say it's against North American competition, but I don't care. That's ridiculously good. Like, that's actually very good. So they were grinding, they were lacking sleep, and then they were still getting these wins. But we'll come on to M80 later because obviously they'll
Yeah, yeah.
feature into it. Some of the other teams we need to look at. Um, we'll start with GamerLegion, I guess, because this whole point of 9th to 12th, other than FlyQuest, who I think, cool, you did like you'll take that for now. Um, GamerLegion, the way they lost to Fnatic is the only thing I have a problem with. Like, I expected them to be more competitive against Fnatic. They could have won Train. Ancient was more like, I felt like it would have gone the way of Fnatic. But
Yeah.
Jambo on Fnatic side, we'll talk about him later as well. He was just owning him as some entry AWPer. Cypher was playing really well at the same time. And I don't know. We spoke about Kersey before,
But
and
this
I'm
is
not
an
going to say he's,
online.
yeah, it's all
Like,
online.
so we talked about Kersey, obviously,
Yep.
that he hasn't quite really hit the mark with GamerLegion. He's had underwhelming performances, and we've kind of taken it to the path where, is he not really, comfortable with, crowd or studio environments where you hear other teams and screams and,
Yep.
all the other pieces around the playing an actual event. But this is actually an online event where, this should be his time to shine and actually, show everything. How convinced are you about Kersey right now, having to see him both in kind of in the LAN environment and now, I would say underwhelming performance again online.
Yeah. I expected him to play better online.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, everything else had gone away from you. But now, I don't know, I'm not trying to defend him, but I'll just say this. You were put under the microscope because you come onto GamerLegion, which obviously was on the rise at the first half of the year, right? And I'm thinking, okay, online's where you can play better. But what seemed to happen is that obviously there's a lot of pressure on him. Maybe he knows he's being focused on. Yeah. Maybe he knows that he could be at risk of being kicked. And then that fear carried through. Now that's me giving him a chance, but maybe
Well,
he just can't play at this level.
well, to be fair, that's the reality for every single competing Counter-Strike player in the entire world. That's
Yeah, but some can handle it better than others.
yes, and obviously there's some struggle. I don't know what it is, but he must have been in teams before where he did, you know, there's a competitive aspect. If you don't do great, you'll be kicked. That's the
Just
end
not
of
at
the
this
day if
level.
you're not bringing it. But I actually said, I mean, even the first time I saw him, I felt like
Mhm.
he did not nail the positioning quite right. I felt like he was
Oh,
over
you wait a sec. You said he went
showing
over
your
too far.
body.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
was
I
like
remember. I remember.
showing his body way too much, or being in position. It's kind of like, you're holding a position and you're way out, like on nuke. Let's say you're under heaven and you go up the stairs and you're holding like T red yard main and you're kind of peeking there, and then you just pick up your knife and go. There's like a 2 second window. If someone peeked, you're just dead. And
Yeah,
you have to eliminate these small things in the top tier scene of Counter Strike, because you are going to get punished. And if it
yeah,
isn't this game, it's the next one, because they have analysts, they have coaches, they're going to see your patterns and they're going to abuse it instantly. So I think if he doesn't realize these things, like, you don't take anything for granted. You don't go and clear, and while in the open, assume it's going to be clear for another 2 seconds. You walk slowly back, and then you take the knife when you're fully safe in the rotation, or you just speed up and make the rotation much faster. But you can't be
yep.
in this like sneaking mode, releasing your scope and being in a vulnerable position. And I think these are the kind of things to kind of stand out when I look at him in eye
Hmm.
test wise. I don't think his skill is bad. I don't think his like shots are missing that like much.
He misses
Like,
some easy shots, bro. He misses some real
everyone
easy
misses
shots.
shots, but I think that
Yeah,
he's
but
been
I mean,
exposing himself way too much, and
mm,
that's why he's dying. Because I think missing shots, that's fine. You get another chance
okay.
if you're not exposed. But if you're
I'll
exposed, you're
say
done.
this. I'll say this. With what you said, that's one thing. But there's also this Game Legion thing. We praise them on finding these new players, bringing new talent into the team, right?
Yep.
And then obviously some players have been very successful and they go on to other teams from Game Legion. We give Ash a lot of credit for that. But with his AWPers, even when they were doing really well, it's not been great. So I'm just wondering, maybe his look for an AWPer or the way they want to use an AWPer is not right, or they haven't found the right AWPer for what they want to do. That could
Yeah.
just be a factor because we can praise Ash and we give him all the credit he deserves for certain things, but maybe on this particular situation, this role, he's not quite there.
I think
That's
he's not
that's that's
quite
my
there
last thoughts.
because, I mean, you can clearly see GamerLegion. They go into games and they have a good game plan. They know what they want to achieve on the server, and they look good. And they do this, a lot
They
of
need to be
times. They've
so
obviously
careful.
had a little bit of a slump, but you can
Hmm.
see a clear idea of what they want to achieve on the server, and they're annoying to play against, even for the top teams. But
But
having a good AWPer is a must.
yes,
Like, it's absolute
yes.
a must if you're gonna. I remember even when we were playing in Godsend and we brought in Farlig for Michael, and this
Hmm.
was. I'll give Michael a little bit of. He's
Oh
a
no,
good
don't
friend
feed
of
his
mine.
ego.
No, but he was stressed. He was really stressed. He had gone into the wall. He was like broken down mentally at that point. So his performance obviously dropped.
Hmm.
So we looked to replace him, essentially.
Yep.
And it was only because if we compared AWPers to AWPers, every single team above us would win the AWPing battle. And I think
Yeah.
that's where you look at GamerLegion. They're in that situation. If you just look at the ranking, right? And just blast it up. Like, who are you going to bet Cursey against in the teams above them? Or
Let
even
me have a
the
look.
5 below them?
Are you looking VRS right now?
Yeah, I don't have it
Valve
up,
ranking.
but that was
Yeah,
essentially
let me see. Let me see.
our kind of thought process about it. Like, who is he going
Yeah,
to beat out of these
like
teams?
even look at this, right? So if I look at G2, some Pius, even with some Pius not performing so well, still a better AWPer.
Yeah.
Device a better AWPer. G from Tyloo a better AWPer. Broky a better AWPer. Wonderful's a better AWPer. Maka's a better AWPer. Molodoi is. Box. Yeah, there's no one above them where they're not there. There's no one
So then you can
above
ask
them
your
where I'm putting that
question,
AWPer's
if
better.
it's so vital to have such a good AWPer in a team, or at least that an AWPer where it's not too obvious that they are worse, you can climb the rankings 100%.
Yeah.
But if you're in the situation where we are looking at every single team, and I'll even point out some of the AWPers, I think even Ultimate is a better AWPer. I think that
Yeah. That's
um
not crazy to say. That's fair.
no, even I see, like, there's teams below them that have a better AWPer.
NQZ.
Yeah, than GamerLegion. I think it's really tough to start climbing ranks if you cannot fall back. Ash doesn't make the perfect game plan, or something goes wrong in their prep. They need AWPer to step up, and he's not there because he's
The
gonna
game
lose
changing.
every single AWP battle in your mind.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's not good enough. Like, if they want to climb ranks, they're gonna drop ranks at this point, even if they're performing well every once in a while.
Yeah. All right, from GamerLegion, because we need to keep things moving, otherwise we will end up with a crazy long podcast once again
Yep.
on just doing the online stage. Liquid, who desperately need every win possible because of where they are in the VRS, right? They are at risk at the moment because they're playing, remember, European invites. So
Yep.
on the Valve ranking, they're 28th right now. So they lose to G2. They beat Imperial, but Imperial, there's a world where Imperial could have won that game and they lose to Spirit, not making it to LAN. Obviously, that's a factor of not having. They got super unlucky having to play Spirit going down to the lower bracket. But I'm just seriously concerned. And I don't think this Liquid team is fully working.
No, it's
I
it's
think
not
there's.
fully working. They have the glimmers now, though. They have the maps where, even pushing Spirit to overtime on Dust 2.
Us
Yeah, they
too.
lose it, but it's still, it's close, and it's against one of the best teams in the world. I think that's like a really good result in a weird way for a team like Liquid, who is ranked 19. Because if you look at Liquid in the light of like a GamerLegion, right?
Yeah.
It's not bad, you know?
I disagree.
Okay.
Because I will say that obviously I'm looking at name value when I think of maybe not Naf in his current form, but let's say Twist, Shuei as a leader, Nerds,
Nerds.
I'm expecting more. We've seen what Ultimate can do, but I need to check where did Ultimate hit on the end of the event?
We had
Ultimate
a
was
really bad
like,
game against
dude,
Spirit.
yeah, like he Ultimate ended the whole tournament with less rating than Shuhei did.
Yeah, that's really bad.
And it's online,
That's
whatever, cool. But I mean, we've seen Ultimate play so much better than that. And by the way, I'm not putting this on him. There's obviously a lot going through the team on trying to find the way they want to play and agree on things. But there's also now this huge pressure, probably from the organization as well, about trying to make the major. They're going to have to go to these smaller lands, like some of these other tier 2 lands that are on the circuit, to get some points. And sometimes we get a Nerds game. Sometimes we get a Twist game. Against lesser opponents, we also get a NAF game every now and again. But for me, they're on the big red flag mode. Like, I'm worried about what's going to go on with Liquid. Because
Yeah, I mean, I think they have bought themselves a little bit more time, just because they've, obviously had some results against Vitality. Yeah, they keep losing the games, and they have to eventually find a way to win them.
but it doesn't
But
help them with
they've
the
been
VRS. Doesn't help them with points.
close, and as you say, the VRS is vital. I mean, for the
Hmm.
organization, for their, continuation to kind of bet on top tier Counter Strike, in a sense.
Yep,
It's a must for most organizations to qualify at least for a major.
definitely. We'll see though. We'll see how they can get on at some of these other events in there as well. But they're just running out of chances. They're running out of time.
Yep.
In the same category as Liquid, by the way, Navi. Now, there's a couple of ways to look at this. Started off great against Fnatic, but you would expect that, right? Um, Playing FaZe, Inferno was decided. We didn't even get to Inferno. It
Nope.
was okay.
This was a
Blade can
crazy
say,
game though. Like if
yeah,
Broky had so many crazy clutches. And by the way, Broky he's freaking on fire. Something happened to him when he
hey,
got
let me
kicked.
ask
Like
you, is he back? Is this
he's
like
100.
officially he's back?
This is the best Broky I've seen, I think.
Forever?
Yeah, I think so. I think that he is more X
Okay.
Factor now because yeah, I don't know. There's something about him right now. He just plays out of his mind. And
He sat there going, "Don't put me back on the bench. Let me keep
no, but
playing."
like something happened to him because he's consistently their best player in games. Like
And
he
also,
is.
he's making his confident moves again. I kept saying
Yes.
this that like the Broky last, I don't know, last times we saw him play was almost like a shell of himself, you know? Like you would see he would have moments he could try and go for these plays, but if I'm talking about the eye test here, I'm talking about watching him. He might still go for this clutch, but you can kind of see he's not doing it in the old Broky way. We used to
Yeah.
call it Broky BS, yeah? And it's like one of those moments that's unwinnable, but he'll manage to do it. We've seen loads of Broky clips from that. Memorable moments from his career. There's the one on Nuke, for example, and he almost pulled off another one during this tournament. And now I'm seeing him go for those plays again with that same confidence, that same energy. And I'm like, oh, it's so good to see. It's like, and even if he doesn't win them all, yeah, he's trying. And maybe the team believes in him and he believes in himself. And that is such a huge, like we always talking about confidence is important in Counter-Strike.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like he was doing this to my Navi team, right? I felt like when he got that Mirage clutch on him, by the way, he didn't knife that guy, then goes in to get the 3K, plays it perfectly. Normally, I was expecting him to go for the knife or something, yeah. But instead, he gets to play it out like that. After that Mirage one, I thought, oh no, like Navi's so done for. And then he gets that other one on Dust 2, where like, admittedly, people love to point out, you saw the Dust 2 one, right?
Yeah, it's when they
So,
already won the round. They
yeah,
start chasing when the bomb is just recently planted. I
yeah,
this
but
is one of the
let me ask
this
you
is
this
one.
though. Before you get into it, I have to ask you this, right? Wonderful. Everyone said like, "Oh, he made a mistake,"
No,
but thank you. I'm glad you said no because I'm like,
Wonderful
where
did
he was
nothing wrong in
positioned,
this clutch.
yeah,
Like
he had to do
honestly,
this.
honestly, obviously, Bit is at fault here. There's no other thing. You're the only defender on that line. You push forward. You go for hunting. I'll let you know this. When you're in a game, and from a coach's perspective, I always say,
Yeah,
we don't hunt until we, tick down the bomb. It doesn't matter where he is. It doesn't matter if we kill the AWP. If we don't get the round, you know,
yeah,
you cannot be that kind of last line of defense in front B side, push out like that. You know where he is. You can hold the angle. I'll be fine with
mm-hmm,
that. But continuously pushing, you have one top mid. All you need to do is either gather all three, attack at the same time, or you wait, you let the bomb timer tick down. If it's like 15 seconds left, let's say, when Bit makes that play, Broky can never win it. But
yeah,
now
yeah,
it's like 25 seconds left of the bomb, and he's already dead. It gives him the actual kind of timeline for this clutch to happen, but there's no
mhm,
chance in hell he can win that clutch if 10 more seconds has ticked of the bomb. There's no chance. And that's a huge
By the
mistake.
way, we've so moved to not to FaZe from NAVI. We've gone the opposite way. But I'm glad you covered the points of like, because when I just see comments where people are like, "Oh, wonderful, like he made the wrong move," I'm like, no, it's 100% not his fault. Like he was stuck, he was in the back. If he thinks Broky's going to be, he's going to go and try and push through it. Broky just played it really well and smart, and then bit messed up. makazi got unlucky with a molly. But I'll say this: when we did the interview, the loser interview with Blade, he's like, "Okay, we've got more time, you know, we're still getting there." But I think everyone's expectations changed after how well they did at Cologne with makazi's first event.
Yeah.
And we thought we were going to see a better FaZe. Now it's been disappointment after disappointment. And it is disappointing, even if Blade doesn't think so. But it's like, it feels like they should have made 2 roster moves during the previous player break. They didn't. And now they're going to have to suffer through this moment to get into the next one.
Yeah.
They're lucky they're playing like Star Series, for example, because they'll get some ranking points there. Obviously, it's another LAN as well. They are the highest rated team playing there. On paper, we'll come to it another time when we do the episode closer to that. They should be winning it, but I mean, it is a situation where
it's a volatile
crazy they didn't
situation
make it.
for NAVI. I mean, even that event, you can't really put them as like secure favorites either, because I think they might bomb out, you know,
Well,
because they're
after
not looking like they're not looking safe and collected, and you know, what's the
well, we
word
saw
I'm looking
this.
for?
We saw this. This is the problem. What you're saying. So I'm saying, yeah, they're favorites of Star Series, but they also just lost to M80. And I don't care if people say it's online or not. They lost to M80 in a best of 3, failing again on Inferno as a deciding map, you know?
They need to get Inferno out of their pool, man.
or just makazi needs to learn. Like, we can't keep praising Alexi and Blade if no one is helping makazi not keep taking nade damage. Like, I always need to start counting the rounds where he's half health to no health at B.
Like, I feel like he goes minus
It's
10
killing
every
me.
single Inferno. Makasa goes like 8.
You're being
18
nice.
or...
You're being very nice. Yeah, because I'm seeing him like half health from the first grenade as he's literally eating it on his chest, and then he's gonna go try and take a fight. Which, unless he's one bullet headshotting with the AK,
but it's
he's
not gonna
so
get
screwed.
easier either. Like, people, like, we've talked about it. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone knows it. Everyone saw it from the first game he stepped into Navi on Inferno. He's getting battered by nades. And that's the win conditions for CT. If they can eliminate the banana player when, you know, Navi are doing an A default, all of a sudden they've won the round. They can over rotate or push in. They get so much control.
Full control.
It's just damning when they're losing, you know, 13-11, and their banana player is struggling hard. They need to help him figure this out, because, or change his position up, because he's not good enough for tier 1 banana play right now. It's a tough position to play, I will admit, to kind of read all of these, but he needs to go through what can everyone do, what have they done against me, and how can I avoid it, because it's people are gonna just keep throwing him AGs.
I'm a little worried for
destroying him.
I'm a little worried for them. We'll have to see. Obviously, they're going to keep this roster until the major, no matter what. This is what I'm looking like, right? M80 didn't manage to retire another player or bench another player from this, but we'll keep an eye on Navi in the future. Next, we'll go on to your old team, your Fnatic team. It's not even your Fnatic team anymore, but Crims is still there. So I'll say this run was mega impressive. Beating Ecstatic, fine. You've beaten them before. You play at the same level as them. Beating GamerLegion, and the way they did it was legit as hell. Jambo, I was worried that he would be never coming back to the same level we saw him on Passion. Maybe because of language, maybe just because you don't have the confidence to do the things. Bro, I watched him walk up banana T-side on Ancient as an entry, and I'm thinking, shouldn't Cypher or Blame F be the first one in? No, he's going up and hitting, like, he's just finding the player, hitting a crazy shot, and I'm thinking, this guy, like he was doing this all over the map. He was sometimes pushing red room, entry AWPing. He's then going on to, and I'm like, there's not many AWPers doing this in CS2 these days. Not many.
No,
And
I
he
think
makes it look good.
I think I like the way Fnatic approached the game, because I actually think they approach it in like almost a CS:GO-esque way, where they're playing very slow. They're playing almost 1-3-1. They're changing up where the group is to pressure different things, and they're taking their time, and they have this kind of like double-edged kind of lurks, because even though people might see Cypher as a entry fragger, I see him as like a almost an explosive lurker in a way, while I see BlameF as that defensive. He'll catch his opportunity lurker, but he'll be much more patient. And
Yes.
having that slow style where you can kind of let Cypher get his feeling in the round and know when to strike, and blame F as well, while they as a group, pressure another side, or, they play a very tactical way of Counter-Strike. And it's something that's kind of been removed from CS2 a little bit. Um, we don't have the old VP style anymore, and we don't have that old, classic NAVI, and in the same sense. And I think Fnatic play this style, and they play it very, very well. And I think that's why they're having
Yeah.
success, because not everyone is doing it this way anymore. A lot of people are playing a lot more grouped up, a lot more execute, a lot more 4-1, because it is so damn hard to keep your lurkers on each side of the map alive. But BlameF and Cypher, they're really good at this.
Yeah.
So I think I'm super impressed by them. I
If,
had a little bit of
if
faith before the event as well. Obviously, I thought they would take a map against Navi, but
Yeah, but dude, do you know what's crazy? I'll glaze Fnatic a little bit more. They're playing DraculaN that they go on to win. They get a
yep,
huge amount of VRS points. They're playing from a boot camp in Romania while also competing at that event at the same time, and they almost qualified to London. I'll say this: if they won that train against M80, yeah,
yep,
I felt like the third map would be them beating M80. Like they obviously had a tough train. M80 played really well. We're not taking anything away from them. But if it had gone to the third map, I felt like Fnatic would have been there. They would have got that done.
yeah,
And maybe just running out of steam a bit. Maybe it was just a few missed. Like there's such small details, right? It's that's just what can happen in Counter-Strike. But this is such a positive sign for Fnatic that have been off everyone's radar. And also for Fear, my biggest concern, I've known Fear since the Navi Junior days. Yeah. Back on the
yep,
Academy League when I was talking to him, and him leading a Ukrainian team, great, no problem at all. His English is good, but I didn't know if he would get the same belief and trust from the players on his team to go and lead a team where you've got Crims and you've got BlameF. Yeah. BlameF also was a leader at one point. Crims is going to have his way of playing at the same time. But it seems like at moments, not all moments, but at moments, this team can connect and do things the right way and communicate through all of this.
yep,
And remember, they lost Matties. They lost Matties to G2 and they had to bring Cypher in. That changed so much. It's a huge change. And yet they still are climbing their way up. Like, give it more time with Cypher and they're on to a winner. This is a team that will
yep.
be like at the majors, maybe big events as well.
I think so as well. And I think I'll even point out, they had a week or 2 weeks or something with Cypher, and they almost qualified for that Star Ladder event, which I was working. They were literally one round away, which they lost to
You
Iberian
said they like
Soul.
you said they threw it, right? And that was it. And that
They
was
threw it. Like they lost an
yeah.
anti-eco round, which would have won them the game. So or like a half
Mm,
force anti-eco
yeah.
kind of. Yeah, and it was literally an USP stuck on the behind barrels on overpass, which they lost against.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
they're
like it.
looking good. I'm super impressed by them as well. I think they're looking on the up and up, and it's fun having the old names back. Fnatic,
Yeah.
NIPs, kind of competing in
Yeah.
the
NIP not quite back, but almost.
no, but they had their stints, and I'm sure they'll find their way back because they do have a
Yeah.
really strong and competitive team now. So I think, they're on the up and up as well if we give it some time. But yeah, Fnatic, super impressed, but M80, wow.
Now, we have to touch on this one as the last team that didn't make it through. Spirit. And I'm not going to be too negative on them because of what changes that are coming that we know are coming, right?
Yeah.
You beat FlyQuest. You lose to Furia. I'm not even surprised they lost to Furia, by the way. Like, people acted like this was the biggest shock. Now, in terms of we don't see them playing much against each other, yes, Spirit have Donk. But people maybe forget how good queserato actually is. And then Molodoi, what map did he go absolutely insane on? Yeah, it was 1.90 rating.
Was Mirage?
From Molodoi on Mirage. Molodoi, Keenan keeps saying it. I've said it multiple times now. Rookie of the year. He is a beast. He's now on another arena event as well. His mentality when I spoke to him the first time in Astana, we obviously go back and watch the Astana episode so I don't waste too much time on this, but he was like, I can do better. And he made semis of his first event, first tier 1 event, first big event. And he just wants to do better. He wants to play better. His English is getting better. We did a good interview as well. Your Kinder's in form. Fallen
is back.
Dude, he's not just back. He's back in a different role with an incredible feel for the game. He's got this great understanding of things that only come with the level of experience someone like him can have. And their win against Spirit was so legit because this is when Donk was still playing good even in the game.
Dude,
Donk was still owning.
Donk, I think when he lost this game, I think this kind of followed through. His frustration was just gathering like a black hole or something. And I don't know what to say. Like, this game, he is absolutely destroying everyone in this game. And they're still losing. Like, he can't get them over the line. And I don't know how many rounds he just walked up con, got the A site, they still lose the round. He got like a 3k, they lose the round. They got 2k, they lose the round.
Ooh.
And he's just destroying everyone. And I could just see am I just dropping 30 kills and I'm still losing?
Done. And
because
then from here,
ridiculous.
They play G2, right? They play G2 for that last spot in London. So they fight their way through the lower bracket. Nothing wrong with that at all, Like, going through the lower bracket after that loss to Furia, good teams can bounce back. One loss doesn't define you. But then you beat G2 on Mirage again. You play Dust 2, you lose it in overtime. It's not the end of the world. But I felt like when they lost it on Dust 2, and then what happened on Ancient, because I think last time it was like a 10. So last time G2 won Ancient, 13-8. But they had like a 10-2 first half on the CT side. Well, they got 11-1 first half on the T side. Now, Malbs is a kind of specialist in his own right on Ancient. And Donk he's not the same way, right? Donk can have moments on Ancient, but I mean, Maui was on the desk with me and he pointed out a stat that Malbs, sorry, it was Vu actually. Give Vu some credit. Big Vu. Malbs head-to-head against Donk on this map, Malbs wins. Yeah? And it showed. But I'll say this, that Donk was checked out. They used his camera so many times. There's one time he's all the way back here. There's another point where he's just like this, tabbing. And then he was you could see there was lights flashing. I don't know if he's just flicking through players, but he was either tabbing or flicking through players or his team, just tapping. Dude, he was. And people can say he needs better mental, but he's won big tournaments. He's had comebacks in games, but I mean, it must have been something to him where he had disbelief that this was even happening. And then for me, I'm just gonna say this: if Magisk was still there, they win that game. Now I can't prove it. But the Magic's vibe is a factor.
I think so too. I think Magisk is a underrated player for what he does, and I'm not sure I'm 100% convinced by the Sway pickup yet. I think he has showed stints and maps, but he's consistently, I feel like in the same kind of boat Magisk was. It's not really an
Okay.
improvement at all.
So let me hit you with this. Obviously, they're not going to London anyway, but maybe Tanir wasn't coming to play at London because he couldn't get a British visa. Yeah, they can be quite hard to get, and he's Belarusian. Maybe I have no idea if that could be the reason. But now, maybe they're looking at this and they're thinking, okay, Zontix, maybe you stay. Maybe we regret getting Sway, and we then just add Tanir. Maybe that's the way they want to do things because they're dragging this out. But either way, something's not pretty. Something's not comfortable. The calling is not great. Chopper, like I even DM'd him because I wanted to do an interview with him. He wasn't gonna, he didn't want to do interviews. Zontix was quite open in his interview when I did it with him. I didn't speak for. I did a lot of the interviews for Spirit. I wasn't on too many of their games. I know Donk was just same as always as he was in his interviews, what he gave. But like G2 was, you listen to their voice comms, you hear them, you see them on cameras, all good vibes, even in bad games. Saw, by the way, he is the most finished person ever. They cut to the voice coach comms.
Guys, is your W stuck or something? Frozen.
And
I'll give him though. It's a good way to say it because I mean he's blaming the whole group. Like it's one of those things like if you're not fast enough, you're just gonna let the rotations. Like one of the worst things that can happen when you play Counter-Strike is you execute somewhere and there's one guy on site. Like let's say you're walking in B site on Dust 2. You smoked doors, you smoked windows, and there's one guy on site, and everyone just stops and aims. No one takes the space. No one is pressuring this person to take another angle or
the
get shot from multiple angles. Everyone just stops and aims and waits for the repeat of the guy on site. And that's the worst freaking thing you can see as a coach because you're getting 0 positions. And when you're giving the time for the rotations, and if they pop out window, they pop out door, you're all in the same space. They don't have to, flick left to right. They just have to know, okay, let's aim tunnel, let's spray tunnels, let's nade tunnels. And you're just exposing the entire team. Even if you would get that kill, you're not in great positions for when the rotations come in. And I think it was a good way for him to kind of, do we want to win rounds?
But it's the way he does it so calm. He doesn't sound stressed. He doesn't sound angry. Yeah. He might not even be smiling while he say it. He's just talking, normal way he talks, very monotone, just going through it all. Like, dude, you'll never feel stressed by him as your coach. And like, he can just give you the information. He's just going to lay it out. And this is, you know what, for me, I think this is probably great for Hunter. This is definitely great for Hunter. And it meant so much for Hunter to be able to go to his first playoffs as an IGL. Heavy God, by the way, he deserves a lot of credit performing very well. Matisse is good. Some bias is I know Saul knows how to use him.
Spirit though, like especially on Ancient, and I think Dust 2, he kind of came back into it. But I think he's growing a little bit more for me because before it felt like he had terrible performances, and now they're just okay-ish. But that's good enough, especially when you have some of your players just performing so well. And I'll say even Mattis, he's been great. I think he's been absolutely insane for G2. I think he
just needs to get a bit more comfortable at this level. Because obviously he's never had to do this before. So because I can see the ability and skill and I can believe in what he can do. Just give him a few more months to get comfortable and it's over. He's even using a new mouse pad now. It's all over for everyone. But the last thing on Spirit I'll just say is this is sad the way it went down. I now just need to know what they're going to be doing. Like, I just want to understand exactly what's happening.
It would be weird if they kick Sway, but I feel like
I'm not saying kick Sway. I'm just saying like so just imagine this. Spirit without Magisk and Zontix. That means just Chopper, Shiro, and Donk remain from the the team that won the major and everything else. How much that vibe is going to change. because I've said this before. Like, there's times I've come to the Spirit practice room, and like Chop and Shira will be off doing whatever they're doing, but I would always see like Zontix, Donk, and Magix in the practice room. I would see them guys there. Yeah, always see them two together, them three together.
Yeah.
Like, that was the people. Donk's obviously always grinding, just playing a lot, but don't underestimate like what it happens when a player's not there, even if Zway can be mechanically gifted or can be good. And obviously now Tanir's just there waiting to see what happens, waiting in the wings. But I need to know. I think what the next event is probably. What's the next event
For Spirit?
Let's have a look. EPL or Fissure? No, they're not doing
EPL.
Fissure. EPL.
Confirmed.
And if they don't play him, if they don't play him at EPL, then like I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see. It's all a waiting game. I don't have any extra information on this. I don't know. There's nothing else I can add to this.
But I feel like it's also a little bit of a dead team vibe. Like it's just like fuck it, we're not gonna have this lineup.
That's normally where teams start to play better, though.
Yeah, but
like
they
did do well. They won
one
Cologne
tournament, and they already had that tournament, which they
now
won.
they're eking it out,
and now it's just okay. Why are we
dragging on
still doing this?
and again and again? Yeah. But I just think whatever happens, however they decide to do things, I want Spirit to be so very Spirit, just like the players. I want the organization to just say the truth. We couldn't get to Nero Visa. We actually wanted him here, but it wasn't possible. He needs to go to here, Whatever the reason is, just give us the truth. Give us the raw, honest truth of why it's gone down like this. Why things have not happened.
They have
like
the vlogs and stuff they release.
Yeah,
in,
so hopefully we get that. But obviously, online vlog's not going to really exist, right? For the online part of this. So we'll see something at Bounty, for example. Maybe I wasn't there, so I don't know if the video guy was there. But remember, EWC was supposed to be the last one for Zontix, and now it's not. So here we are again. We're just waiting. We don't really need to touch on the 6 teams that made it to the LAN finals. It's a good set of teams. It's nice to see FaZe back. Same for G2. M80 is the kind of outlier. Like, will they do anything? But we can just now flip this into our preview for the next event, right?
We can, yeah.
So I'll say this. Furia being in semis, for me, like, that was legit as hell how they did it. Vitality being in semis, they easily could have been in quarters because of that game against FaZe. G2, they're just happy to finally get to a playoffs, and it's Hunter IGLing. M80 definitely just happy to be there, even though they're going to face Mouse. And Mouse are still shaky, yeah? So is this where we want to now reveal?
I think we can reveal.
Do we do it game by game?
Let's
I
do
need
it
to open my thing
game.
to make sure Okay.
So Mouse versus M80. I have written down Mouse win versus M80.
Same. Well, I just wrote Mouse little line that says they beat M80.
Yeah.
G2 FaZe. This one I'm going to get spicy, I think. I'm picking G2.
I picked FaZe.
Okay, let's go for this then. So, reason I picked G2, and it does kind of work that I need to double check this, but I don't think Matthews has ever played in an arena. That was just I didn't do any research on this. Maybe you can quickly check it for me, but I didn't think Matthews had ever been in an arena. But I know Jacob, and Jacob looks really good, by the way, on FaZe. Nothing against him. And Broky, obviously, is hella back, and we're very positive about him. I'll just say the reason I picked G2 is that Jacob did an interview with the desk, and he was nervous. In an arena, I feel like that's going to get him. And I feel like that will get him more than whatever Matthews will experience. And that will give them a slight edge.
Okay.
Because the rest of that G2 team is more than capable. And it's FaZe riding high, and we can always say this thing. FaZe, when they get to the arena, that's when they're at their best. Also, they're kind of in a little honeymoon period, whatever else, yeah? But I've just got a feeling that this G2 will get a semifinals run in here somehow. I can just see it.
For me, why I picked FaZe, I think obviously Broky is a big part of that, but I also think the rest of the team, they look more composed. They look like they believe the ideas that are brought into the server a lot more. They're a lot more direct in their approach. I think their individual skill is starting to come back. And I think removing Elish and this kind of talk about too many cooks in the kitchen,
Yeah.
from obviously Rain has mentioned that in interviews that there are too many ideas. I think this is kind of refocused FaZe in a way where Jacob has been great. I think Rain been great. Like all the players have actually stepped up individually and are starting to get
Mm-hmm.
comfortable in the roles. I actually have a little bit
Except for
of a
Carolyn.
well, yes, he is playing a little bit of a new role on some maps, and we'll probably go into that very shortly, as I have prepared a little bit of a devil walkthrough for
We'll,
just
we'll,
FaZe.
we'll, we'll do it after we go through all our predictions. We'll do it that
Yeah.
way. Because things will get interesting now. So I'm with you on the FaZe thing. This is one where it just is such an exciting matchup. I'm glad it's the last game of the day as well.
It's
I hope it
definitely
stays that
not
way.
like, oh, it's 100% FaZe or 100%. This was a
Yep.
tricky one for me to predict. I think
Yep.
it can go either way.
I changed my prediction before I sent it like 3 times.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, FaZe. I was like, oh, Broky. Then I was like, but what if Jacob really just shits the bed
FaZe is
completely?
gonna win
Like,
it
what
by a
happens
ninja
here?
diffuse by Broky.
Or some mad like 1v5 clutch. That would be very
Yeah.
Broky. That would be so Broky. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting though, because now we have to do our predictions based on what we already predicted. So that means we would see Vitality play Mouse.
I
You want to go
have
first?
Vitality win versus Mouse.
Same. Okay, we're agreed. Then I've got Furia G2.
I have Furia versus FaZe, and I have
And I
Furia
have,
win versus FaZe.
yes, I have Furia win versus G2. So we both agreed now.
Yeah.
We've come back to a grand final of Vitality versus Furia.
I think this one is really tough to predict, but I did pick
No.
Vitality.
Okay.
Bro, but I
so
think it's much closer than we, set it up. But I have
really?
to stick with Vitality because we've previously said that Vitality
Yeah.
is going to win the whole event.
But you could
And
change
I'm
if
gonna,
you wanted to. You're
yeah,
not
but
being held
I
to that
think
at
Furia is going to
gunpoint.
give them a real game. I don't think it's
I
going
was
to be. Is it best of 5?
Yes, so that was my reasoning. My reasoning for not picking Fury in this. If it was a best of 3, I could maybe give it to Fury in some way. But I think in a best of 5, at best they could get a map in
I
current
actually
Fury
think
way.
they might pick up 2.
Okay. Okay.
But I think the experience and all that winning mentality and kind of they probably have a little
Oh,
bit extra hunger as well if they eventually reach the final. Like, okay,
well,
it's time to be back now, boys.
and also Mezzi's at home. It's his country, and his wife and baby will be there as well. I saw him in the lobby
True.
when I came in and checked into the hotel. I checked with him. I
Saivu
said, "You got
did
family
get
coming?"
Saivu and Apex did get that Paris win.
Yeah.
So it's
See?
time for Messi to get the UK one, right?
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, there is our preview of the Blast Open London playoffs. It's going to be very exciting. We're almost completely aligned. We have a few little differences in there of how it might go down. But we will at the end of this event go through them final 6 teams in some more detail, review everything, go into a bit of a longer one. But Devilwalk did prepare a new Devil walkthrough for us. He's kept this one a bit shorter, but it's all focused on Jacob. So talk to me, DW. Give
Well,
me the
not
Jacob
all of it.
lowdown.
I have
Oh,
to
not all of it.
first.
Here we
Well,
go.
I think it's more about FaZe in general, but I've essentially I've picked out 2 maps which I wanted to highlight.
Okay.
So there are some old ones, but it still provides a point, I think. So if we
Yep.
just check the old way of actually lower the playback speed, we see here FaZe Carrigan here. He is actually the long anchor in the old FaZe.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously had simple kind of supporting with nades, but Elish is that kind of short player, will play on the short side. Now, why I think this is important, I think it's important because this player is the most important player on the CT side. It's the one that dictates the entire tempo, where you're defending. And I think one big thing when you look at Dust 2 as a map in general, you need 3 defenders to defend B site, at least to be
Mm-hmm.
ready here with flashes, and 4 to defend A properly against 5 terrorists. That's how I
Yep.
view the map. So it's very important the location of this player, where he's be, where, if he's ready, and obviously karrigan being isolated into this kind of long anchor role isn't very relevant on the map. He can make a few moves. He can essentially do these 3 things. He can let go of long and help a short execute. He can stay
Mm-hmm.
long, or he can push long. All requires quite a lot of information to defend, because if you do this, you're running the risk of getting flanked, etc. It's a huge task in kind of decision making. Here you obviously see that Elish doesn't get to the point where he needs to be to defend and flash for his mates. When the first flash
Yep.
pops, I think here, all of them are
Yep.
already dead, because I would say, he took a kind of an egocentric way of approaching this, where he would nade the mid smoke to try to find a kill when he could have actually flashed for Rain being the solo defender. Either way, that's not really the point. The biggest point I want to make is karrigan being isolated into this long area.
Yep.
Now, if we look at the current phase,
Mm-hmm.
so we'll look at it this way. Jacob is now the long anchor, and karrigan has taken over that Elise role. So
Oh,
he's in a much, much central position,
more
uh,
active.
more active. I think this is really, what I want to highlight, where I felt when I watched FaZe now, they looked
Mm-hmm.
more or less chaotic. Do you get my sense when you watch them now? They have that kind of explosive and chaotic episodes, but when I watched them with the leech, it felt like it was almost every single round. While I did feel they have a lot more control now. And I think that the big reason for that is having karrigan, at least on Dust 2, in a more central position, where he can kind of
Yep.
feel out the game. He can be in that position, and he's not going to be the egotistical kind of approach where he drops out to clear mid fully. He will be flashing for those guys every single time if something happens.
Whatever the team needs.
And I think I just wanted to point that out a little bit, that he has so many more options to kind of go out around the map. Because before, I mean, what can you do? You can be in this little box here, when you can
Yep.
listen to. I'm making headset here to short guys. But that's essentially what you can do, and otherwise it's just waiting and kind of listening through what the information is. You don't really have the tools and positioning to dictate where your players should be, or what
Yep.
you should be holding. I think it's also really good
Question
that,
though.
yeah.
Where did Jacob used to play on Dust 2 on his old team?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't check that. I think they, they played
Sorry,
us
I'm just throwing
too.
you a curveball. This is the
Well,
first time I've
either
seen
way,
this.
I can check that up as we run. We'll probably give that answer at the end, but I
Okay.
don't know currently. I think that he was probably more of a playmaker, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
totally honest.
But that's a
Because
very strong player individually to be
I
locking down
think he
long, which
actually
can be
had
such a
this
targeted
karrigan role.
place. Okay.
Uh, but there's obviously things where you're not going to have the same fragging output from a very, very important role, but I think it's going to dictate where you position everyone a lot better.
Yep.
Because we've seen, Alexi B have a lot of success kind of playing that role sometimes, where he used to get famous for throwing the nades on short guys, etc., and doing a
Mm-hmm.
lot of damage. So it's a position you don't necessarily have to play, guns blazing. You can play it very, very
You
smart
can be
and
annoying.
annoying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smart and annoying. Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's one key thing. Now, this is a round just gonna reverse it back. So here we see this is also he's in a more central position here. Obviously in short, he's helping Frozen. They're gonna have some contact here in lower. He's gonna flash just to provide some cover, and he's just here to help with that duel, and then he can tell people to escape, and he can kind of
Mm-hmm.
slowly back off. And I think previously, I'm not really sure they would have actually gone into a 3B setup, but I think karrigan is kind of secure with that. They're playing Navi. If they're going to take short, they're very structural. They're probably going to mollo, especially with someone being there, that he makes the call to play a kind of a joker position here and go 3B. Now, it doesn't matter to me that they actually lost this B side and lost this round, but I think it's relevant that they're making the call where karrigan says,
The
"No,
stack.
stay 3B. I'm gonna play
Yeah.
Joker on A instead." And I think
And you got a
in the
safe pair of hands at
past,
long in Jacob.
yeah, in the past that might not have been the case. Um,
Okay.
Now that's one thing. Now we're gonna move on a little bit on Mirage, and one thing that I thought was really interesting on their CT side and the change of perspective here is we're going to look at Elish versus Jacob and their approach in the first 3 or 4 gun rounds of a CT half. Now, here we have Elish on the first gun round here. They're choosing to go aggressive here, right? Rain and Elish, they're pushing underground. They're trying to get kills. And they're playing it super, super aggro. Now we can move on to the next gun round. Same map. And we see here Elish moves up. He's aggressive again. Gets killed, punished, doesn't really matter the rest. We'll see the next gun round. He is trying to be aggressive. He gets kind of tagged down. And then what does he decide to do? He decides to go aggressive again. Obviously, Broky has that line and go into an aggressive setup in mid.
Yep.
Now, if we're going to show a little bit of difference, so this is kind of the first gun rounds. I mean, I can show this. No, this is an eco. Either way, this is the first gun round, actually. Kind of, against a force. We see Jacob, he's taking a much more kind of conservative positioning. He's kind of jiggling, he's not in an aggressive position, exposed or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives them a lot more stability. I think it just eliminates some of that unnecessary chaos for FaZe, where they can kind of use their experience a little bit more, delay a little bit more, and not play that all out full chaos game, which I thought it looked like they were with Elish. And if we look, you see him, it's a very, very conservative position. We can look at the next kind of weapon round. It's obviously against Navi. We see Jacob
Yep.
again, very, very conservative, very, very, chill. And here we see this is a beautiful play, by the way. If you see here, Frozen throws a flashbang into mid. karrigan peeks from window. Jacob breaks the smoke, and they're both blind. They get the double kill, but it's a very organized, aggressive play. It's not,
Yeah. Played off
him
each other
just
really well.
walking up. And we can see again, can kind of mount into here. Still a very, very conservative thing. Even though they are aggressive, it's based on nade, it's based on flash, and then they move back and they play
Yep.
safe. They, nade, they're annoying. They get a kill from a nade, playing super, super kind of defensive in this line and being annoying with multiple parts of the map, everything from Broky flashing to Frozen flashing, them nading and controlling. It's not as, you know, direct, I'm going to take a duel and win it. It's much more finesse in this play. And we can
Yep.
even look at even the next one. So this is 4 gun rounds in a row. Now he does go a little bit aggressive, but he walks off. He plays this conservative role where we saw Elish would have pushed underground, almost playing a little bit puggy in a sense, where he would be aggressive here. He would take duels, walk out to the smoke, take duels, trying to find the impact all the time, while jacob is kind of leaving that space, giving room for other players to shine on the map as well. um,
Mm-hmm.
so that was kind of what I wanted to go through. I had a couple of rounds here, but it's essentially, I think that it's not that relevant, but I do see that Jacob is a little bit more prone to go out in an execute, be that first member to kind of trade down and be aggressive. Something that maybe Elish was a little bit not as good at, I would say, as Jacob. I think he has more ability in that sense. Kind of like when we talked about Makase in Navi, that they get a little bit more
Yeah.
speed into things. So yeah, that's where I wanted to take the conversation with FaZe. Essentially, I wanted to kind of highlight that on the CT sides, they do seem a little bit more controlled. It's not as aggressive and all out. It's not as exposed. They're not going to get punished, and it's not going to be as many chaotic rounds
Mm-hmm.
comparably to when they play with the Leash, who we can safely assume had a lot of impact in the communication and what was going on in the server. Uh,
Yeah.
with his initiative taking. And I think having someone like Jacob kind of just stepping in line and following the directions and directives that are given is giving us a better face.
And do you think that this is now just a lot of them molding Jacob as well and getting him to play as they want?
Yeah, I think so, but I think it's not only that. I think I think that they're much more prone into doing something together rather
Mm-hmm.
than being this instinctful gut feeling player that would just take a decision in the middle of the round, which maybe would throw some of the players off. Uh, when you're in a position where you're not really ready for what your mate wanted to do, he takes an initiative and you feel like you have to move forward to trade, but you're too late because you're not really into the play as fast as he is, which obviously when
Yeah.
you get a little bit off sync because of that. I think that's something that FaZe has experienced, and that's something that they don't have to deal with to the same degree now with Jacob.
Awesome, man. Another
Yeah.
Devil walkthrough. A little bit more understanding of FaZe and how they got it. It's not just the Broky show. There's a lot more going on behind the
But
scenes,
I mean,
moving
that's
around.
it's a big influence to Broky. Like, obviously, if you give Broky a lot of this time, he's
Yeah.
going to deliver in a different way. But if he's constantly in these 3v4, 3v5, or 4v5 situations where they have to claw things back, you're not gonna get that same Broky in a sense. And I think this slower pace of rounds, you know, gives more room for other players to shine. And I think we've seen that in this tournament.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to keeping an eye on it. It's definitely great to just have. Obviously, FaZe last made Austin playoffs for the major, which is great. Was with Simple. Elite's
Yep.
obviously still there, but it's been getting bad again. And this is a nice turnaround. And if they can just keep building on this and figuring things out, obviously only time will tell. It's when FaZe are at the top and when FaZe are in playoffs, it's a good thing. People love them. And even with Carrigan having individually not great performances, I think say there's only one thing I worried about with FaZe. It was that like Jacob would come in
Yep.
and he would be not ready. But just to get him this far, even if he's not ready for stage, this is already a good look from what you've shown me. So I got to learn from looking at this bit. This is
Yeah, and he,
nice.
he plays he plays really good roles, and he has a lot of impact. And I think, yeah, he suits them because they have so much experience. They have so many players who can make an impact if you just let them. They don't need someone to fill that void, because these are big players. They're big game players, and
Yeah.
they always have been. So I think FaZe, they're on the right path, and I'm looking forward as well to kind of seeing where Jacob can kind of take it once the nerves kind of
Hmm.
settle in, because I assume it's quite a big kind of jump from playing tier 3 to then playing with the legends of this game, like absolute legends of this game. So obviously he's going to have a little bit of an adjustment period.
Yeah. Oh, yes. All right. Well, from that, we will look at news that's going on in the scene, some of the things we've picked out here. I think the first one we can start with is Astralis, because it's huge.
Yep.
So the only thing is, I don't want to talk any ill about Stown, but like, again, we've got personal reasons, right? That he's tweeted out as well. Some people said he made another tweet once the rumors came out that Magisk, because there was rumors a few days before that Magisk would be joining Astralis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Magisk coming from Falcons was on their bench. They let him go. It seems I don't know if any deal came, but Astralis has no money, as we saw, as like an organization. They've been struggling, so I don't think they had the money to buy him out if it was a big buyout or anything. Yeah, they were hearing it said on HLTV. Astralis was reported to be exploring a sale, you know?
Right.
But then later publicly released financial statements confirmed the storied brand was in some degree of trouble. So obviously they've been able to get him. But like, I don't think Stown was bad, but he wasn't playing up to his usual level. He hasn't looked the same player in CS2 as he was in CSGO. If he has some personal issues, I feel for him, right? And it's really good if he sat there and said, I don't feel good. I'm dealing with this right now. I need to take a break. I'm always going to support that because health is so important. But just because it's Astralis and how they've done things before, that it makes me think like there might not be full truth to this,
Oh.
that's what I'm just worried about because it's Astralis, And if maybe they wanted to make a move, this is how they just like brush things under the rug.
But
Because
don't
it
you
says
think
that Magisk is going to play for the rest of the season for them.
didn't Hooksy take a lot of Staven's spots when he joined? Do you think that could be some reason? Because I think Hooksy kind of plays that, if even the thing that we kind of went through, that Hooksy plays short on Dust 2, something that Staven used to do, he kind of wants to be very central on the map to make sure that he's calling correctly.
How he can see everything.
And that's kind of where Staven used to operate, and it hasn't really worked out with him kind of shifting roles in that sense.
Yeah.
That could also be kind of a
Yeah.
role thing, because obviously Magisk, he can be a great anchor. They obviously know he's a great communicator. And yeah, Staven just maybe not ready to kind of get into a more structured role.
And it might be even hard on Stown's mental in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously not performing the same way you were in CS2 in general, then going through this change and Hooksy coming in as well. New leadership style, new way of it all being.
But
So,
when did we see Staven last time actually be good? Like, if we're fair,
it's hard to remember.
Was that heroic?
Well, I'll say there's a few pop-off games I can remember in the Astralis jersey. But obviously it was also with tons of other caveats of players changing, leadership changing,
Yeah.
Like they've been through such a ringer of terrible, like he had, for example, Bucharest, okay, they went out 9th to 11th, 1.18 rating. Cologne stage 1, 5th to 8th. So they made it through to the next stage, 1.14 rating.
But that's not
Online blast
Staven
bounty.
ratings, you when I think of Staven being, really good, he was like a 115, 120 kind of rifler in terms of rating.
More consistent.
I mean, he was the star player. He was the best player. People are hyping up as one of the best players in Denmark.
Yeah. And that's what it's a long way from that now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to seem like an arsehole saying that this might not be true, right? It's not because of what Stown said. It's more on the Astralis side.
Yeah.
Now, I never saw this tweet. Some people said there was a tweet made from Stown and then it got deleted. Yeah. I never saw this. I didn't see any posts of it. Just this is what was written by people on the internet. So you can't trust that fully. But Magisk coming in, might work out better for what you just said on the whole way they want to fit Magisk into these roles, right?
Yeah.
But like, it is a bit of recycling the old players, you know, bit of legacy Astralis getting back to there. Now, Magisk's probably very motivated and has a point to prove, but like, I think this is just, if anything, it's just a linear move, you know? I don't see this as like something that's going to massively change them to suddenly do better than they were before.
I don't think most people are looking at this and going like, okay, yeah, Astralis are back now. I don't
Title
think that
contenders.
I don't think that would be fair, but maybe it gives them a little bit more stability for a period of time. I mean, one thing we
Yeah.
have to remember, uh, Magisk is only 27.
Yeah, I always think he's older because obviously he was so young when he first joined Astralis.
Yes.
This is, by the way, we must say this so many times on the podcast. There are so many players now where I still put Magic in this 23, 24-year-old category, like he just hasn't aged.
Well, like I think most people would look at Magisk and he must be over 30 now. Like he has a year left, but he has multiple years left. So I think it's one of those things where, obviously he's had a little bit of a break. He could reinvent himself, grind up the skill a little bit more, and kind of finding a new motivation for the game again. And I think for a lot of people that we've watched, especially in this kind of age, they have found that.
Yeah, but okay, you just said like people you think he's like 30. You know why I never think that? Because even at Paris Major, I just
But
think of like
I think it's because
capable
I've
young Magic still.
competed against these players. I've seen them for so many
Yeah.
years. I just assume they're the same age as me.
No one, no. Well, some are, but not as old as you. Not as old as us. I'm interested to see how this unfolds. What happens if Stown comes back? How it's going to work out. I just hope. Do you know? I just want this from all teams. We know some moves happen because things don't work out. Now you don't need to shit on the person and be like, "Oh, he's such a bad teammate. I don't think he should ever play with us again." But just like, don't always say personal reasons. Are we mutually agreed to not be together? Like, sometimes it doesn't work out. Like, look at the thing is, they still said mutual agreement on FaZe, but everyone knew from information that came out that certain players didn't get on, certain players couldn't agree on things, and they ended up with a situation, right?
Yep.
I much prefer the honesty. I don't need drama. Just give me the honesty. We're making this move because this was not right for us. This player didn't fit. Don't even name the players. Some players clashed. Yeah. Whatever. That would be. That
But
would
I
be
mean, it would
better.
still be said in such a PR way that you would be annoyed anyways. It would be like we couldn't align on
We just
ideas,
changed.
like.
Yeah, I guess we can't win in this. I guess there's no way to win, right? I live in an ideal world. I want to live in an ideal world where we know it all. Because there's even moves we've spoke about where I know the truth and then I just can't say anything. Like I can't do it. Let's go then from Astralis to Ecstatic.
Yep.
Because one player who is even older than Magisk is acoR. So we already spoke about earlier in the show, Christo gets removed, rightly so. The one thing I'll say about Christo, right, is he's actually had multiple chances on
Astralis.
teams, but not even just Astralis. Like he's had chances, yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's had so many chances.
Let's see how long. Let's see how many chances he's had. Because I'm just thinking how many times I've heard of him. So Astralis talent, the Preezy lineup, North back in 2020.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's had opportunities. And obviously Ecstatic then rolled the dice with him again. But obviously he's not making the cut. He's not working it out. acoR, there were moments where I can say he's good and I don't think he's a bad player at all. But I'm just surprised they went with him. He can bring some experience to the team. But like, I personally thought they'd just go for a not younger player, but like more of an up and coming player to try.
Who did he stand in for? Was it GamerLegion he stood in for?
Didn't he just play for GamerLegion, acoR?
Yeah, like a year ago, but he was recently he stood in some game, I thought.
Look at his matches. I can't see it on the initial matches.
Yeah, he played with GamerLegion against 3D Max and IEM Dallas.
Okay. Oh yeah, because Slend couldn't get his visa.
Yeah, and they beat
Yeah.
they beat Furia, G2, and 3D Max.
But look at this as an example, yeah? So he went from Tricks to Mad Lions to Mouse to GamerLegion, then TSM and Ecstatic now, yeah? It's not bad, but it's not going upwards. So if Ecstatic want to make the next step, he definitely will be better than Christo.
But
That's I'm agreeing.
I think this is a brilliant signing for them. I think it will immediately give them stability. He's a really stable AWPer. He might not be like 100% on the level of like some of the up and coming AWPers, but one thing you'll get with acoR is consistency, and he will consistently get the kills he
And they
needs.
didn't have that
He's
before.
very like turret-esque in the way that he plays AWP. Similar to like an old, for the older viewers, Skadoodle or whatever you want to call it. But he's very positional in his way. He's very positional in his approach. And I think
Probably
this
fits
could
very
give
Danish
them,
Counter-Strike.
yeah, it fits very, very well. And I think they're gonna get some really good, stability from having him like that. It's definitely gonna elevate the team from, you know, we're not just gonna bash on Christo, but obviously he had underwhelming performances to the point where it's almost like 40 rating gap to 1.0. And I think you're gonna get a 1.0 rating out of acoR almost every map. I think he's that stable. I don't think he's going to be
He's not going to
incredible,
cost you.
but he's not gonna cost you.
He'll get you what you want.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Ecstatic need. I don't know. I'm just thinking like Denmark used to have such a talent pool. Maybe they don't, but I thought maybe a younger, up and coming AWPer wanted to show some stuff, you know. But then obviously that's a risk of where they are.
Don't you think this young team of Ecstatic, so let's just go through the ages. TMB, he might have been in the scene for 10 years, but he's 23 years old. Anlele,
That's another player I would say is older. That's actually a player I would say was older.
Nut, he's 19,
Best
and
name.
Sira, I think he's 18. acoR has a wealth of experience that none of these players have or have had the opportunity to kind of get into. They also parted ways with their coach, and I mean, he wasn't even listed on their HLTV page for some weird reason. Uh, but I think this is something that is going to help the entire team. Not only getting, acoR in the terms of having a stable performance, but also getting that experience of, okay, what's not working? How did you guys do it in the past? Get a little bit of a different view of how things are working and how to progress, because there is a lot of talent on this team. And I think they need a little bit of guidance. I think acoR could bring that stability and guidance in one package.
We'll wait and see. When you look at it when you give me the ages and the experience, I can more go onto your side of things.
Yeah.
I'm just probably maybe too much on like academy coming through, but I got to remember Ecstatic's not a tier 1 team. Not even close to it, right? So yeah, your position would make more sense. I can't compare it to the same way of like a Navi or a Spirit looking for players and bringing people through.
No. Because
they have
like a coaching staff behind them in a way that Ecstatic, they're essentially just 5 dudes, man.
Yeah, when I'm looking like this makes more sense. What else we got? Let's look at this big situation because
this is chaotic.
Dude, I need to bring up Big's Liquipedia to understand what's been going on at the same time.
But you know the weird thing? Okay, I'll start this one off. Obviously they have GoB returns to academy coach.
When they didn't want him on the main team because there was like disagreements with the way they wanted to play and the players not being on the same page, It was quite a public falling out. Even GoB was like super unhappy tweeting of what went down.
But you know what the weirdest thing of this whole thing is? So they release Skrunk, who, by the way,
after 1 month.
After 1 month, and by the way, when I did the Star Ladder event, they told me that he was on a pre-agreed holiday. So in my head, I'm imagining this guy works with them for like 2 weeks, goes on holiday, comes back, and he's fired.
No, he was already fired before they said he was
this is
on
what
holiday.
I get in my head.
You got lied to. You got lied to. I don't know.
Probably.
I have no proof.
But
it sounds like you were lied to.
But if I would believe them, if I choose to believe their words, then he went on a holiday and got fired when he came back.
Both is terrible because also, was he, obviously I don't know, I really don't know Skrunk that well other than when he was playing, but was he that bad that you make the decision that quickly?
I don't know, man.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
Then, if that is the case, you have to question, why did they go with him in the first place? What was it that convinced them in the first place to have him?
And also, they then bring Zen back, right?
He was always there, apparently.
Yeah, but he got kind of moved around as well. So he was on alternate ATEX, right? Back in Go. Obviously, like the second best German team, however you want to look at it. Then he was assistant coach. Then he was interim coach when they were trying to find another coach. Then he was assistant coach again. Yeah. And now he's full coach again when he was interim coach. Because I met him at one event where he was like helping out. And now he's the main coach. Why didn't you just make this decision first time?
Yeah. And they
what is going on?
They brought the in-game leader from Big Academy to be their assistant coach. Freeze.
Huh?
Yeah. Like the Big Academy's in-game leader is now the assistant coach to Sen on the main roster.
Jesus.
It's a bit of a, I mean, they brought Process back. They've changed a bunch of things.
Where was Freeze?
If you read the article.
Freeze a Big Academy. Yeah. So it's okay. So one thing I'll do, which this is where it gets even more crazy, right? So let's look at Process. Process has been passed around. So Process, right, started on Fnatic Rising back in the We Play Academy days.
Yep.
Then went to Big Academy to play with Germans. Then was on the big roster. Then then removed to the inactive role. And then put back on the Big Academy. And now is on the big main team. You've like thrown this guy up and down, left, right, and center, and he still somehow, some reason, stayed loyal throughout it all. Like, I really like the big guys, by the way, as in the people who run the organization, but this is hella messy and very confusing. QB gets taken out, but guess what? QB will take his spot in the academy team to continue his development. What is this? QB was already developed. QB was playing well before Big.
He was in Fnatic's main squad. He was in that Sangal, right?
Yeah, Sangal. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Sangal, no, he wasn't in Sangal. Yes, he was. No, Sangal was CSGO.
Sangal CSGO. Then Fnatic.
That was it. I did my first interview with him for Fnatic when he was at Major, or trying to qualify for Major.
But it's like Big is all over the place. They're a mess. I mean, if this doesn't work out, like, do you have any belief in the project? Like, how many things do they need to cycle through to get this to work? Because at some point you gotta say, okay, hey, this isn't working. We have to make bigger changes. We have to, I don't know, find other talents that we obviously haven't looked at yet.
Let me put this into your mind.
Yeah.
So godb returns, but he's coaching the Big Academy. Big Academy, right? Look at the team they have right now.
So is that the final boss of coach they have to cycle through before this is going to work again?
Because obviously they removed him as coach, right? And they cited like differences of how they want to do things.
They have been doing much worse since.
Big Academy is 2 German players, 1 Kosovo player, 1 Ukrainian player. Yeah? godb's going to be the coach. They're looking for another player as well. So godb levels this team up. to a point where they can actually be chasing the main big roster on the VRS rankings. And then they switch again to international big. That's
I mean,
crazy big changes come.
I mean, the worst thing is I could see it. I could see it happening. You know,
So
we
could I
had
at
that
this
like
point.
Mouse NXT versus Mouse main squad
Yeah,
before they got promoted to the actual main squad. I could see that happening.
dude. Are they? But why would your academy team not be only German play? I know. So, for example, for people who don't
Yeah,
know,
if your
the German
whole
scene is
team
kind of
is
plagued.
German.
Yeah, but the German team is kind of plagued with problems. Sorry, the whole German scene, because of age things, because of just not so many players coming through. There's a whole backstory to problems that German teams have to deal with, right? But Big has been your staple team for a long time. I met fans at Cologne who are like, I love Big. I'm wearing a Big jersey. But they're like, they don't see another time where they'll get them inside an arena. You know, the glory days
Yeah.
have gone. Like, it's just holding on for national country pride, but that's about it. And now we're going to look at this and say your academy team might not even be German, so that's less opportunity to
But
cycle through the players, unless they're trying to do it as just selling players to other people
I
later
think
on.
that's more it, because I think they're kind of riding this wave of being the best team in Germany. And that's, you know, where their income comes from, I think. I think that's just it. They have to kind of stick with German sponsors and German kind of
Mm-hmm.
brands to keep things running. So there, it wouldn't make sense to go international if the majority wasn't German.
Yeah.
That's just how I view
No,
it.
it's so wild. Um, some of the other roster moves are not super crazy in here. Last one we can touch on is the wildcard one,
Yeah, this one I think
because
is so freaking. It's almost mean to a point, you know, because Wildcard recall Fusi from 9. And you know what the worst part about this is?
mm-hmm.
That 9 has qualified for LAN events with Fusi,
Yes,
and
with
he is
Fuzi.
not going to get to play it. I think it's all I get it's almost disgusting to me.
Yeah.
Because I had a couple
Wildcard,
of
by the way, keep
interviews.
making.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so tired of me interrupting, but Wildcard have made some really bad organizational decisions.
Yes.
Like this, they're not on the running for worst organization, but just maybe one of the dumbest.
100%.
This is
Like
just awful.
they had a really good team with Stanislaus, Sonic, you know, Susp, Fusi,
Yeah,
and like they were on the up and up, and they went from being completely irrelevant to having a team from NA who actually went to European competitions, played in arenas, played against the big teams, and
yeah.
actually put their whole brand on the map. And then they just said it's not good enough and started firing everyone, or I don't know what happened, but
But like
so
they
weird.
at one point they were not going to have Stanislaw, and then he returned as well. Right, we already went through that part.
Yeah, but it's just
So
because
they
they
put him on the
needed a
bench, and then he came
VRS.
back. It's this is just terrible.
And the Fusi deal, it might even be the same thing that, you know,
What? So you have? Let's just let me look at the current roster. So you'd have Stan, Jaber, and Fuzi. Because isn't Sonic was? I saw a rumor or something. Sonic was supposed to go somewhere.
I think I saw that as well, but I can't remember. But it's such a weird. I don't even know where. Like I don't see them being relevant anymore. I don't see them being in a
No.
position where they can actually grind their way up, because even imagine being a player, you're up and coming player, you're in that kind of bracket where wildcard wants their players to be. Why would you sign with
Yep.
wildcard if you see a successful team of basically only rookies with some experience, mixed, actually do really well, and they just cancel the project mid project.
But Look at this headline. This headline was back just 2 months ago. Yeah. Sonic headline says it's not a pretty situation. It's very unfortunate for the new guys to come into a situation like that because of all the stuff that was going on with players and moving things around, you know.
Yeah.
And it just continues to get bad, and now they've screwed over 9 at the same time. Okay, there's obviously a contractual thing here, right? So 9 didn't have much of a choice. But yeah, after Fuzi's departure, following a disappointing stage 1 exit in Austin, Wildcard have sunk to 60th on the VRS ranking. That puts them 14th in the prospective list of major invites, with 10 available for North America and South America. And then
They had
9
a
who have lost their
guaranteed
highest
spot
rated
with the
player
old
with this
squad.
move.
They had a
Yeah.
guaranteed spot with the old lineup, and they just threw it away. And it was stressed decisions. I remember when we saw this news about Wildcard, like, you know, at the break or whenever it was. I can't remember. We did a podcast about it, an episode, and I just said, like, this just looks really stressed. Like, it looks like this decision comes out of nowhere. Absolutely
Also,
nowhere.
Jaber, one of the most promising North American talents, and you're just ruining him with all this bullshit. I heard that even had he'd been living in Poland. They've been working together. They've been like getting some Europe practice in. I'm just, by the way, I never read HLTV comments, but this is amazing. This guy Swona says, "What the actual fuck is Wildcard doing? If you're just gonna fuck these players' careers over, just say you will, because fucking hell, this shit is diabolical." Couldn't have said it better myself.
No, but it is.
Don't know who you are, dude, but that is 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's exactly
Actually,
right. Because I think, you know, obviously Fuzi starts practicing, plays with a team for a month or a month and a half, you know, finding a new home. They're looking really
playing
promising.
really well.
Qualifying
Playing really well.
playing super well, qualifying for lands, you know, really making a tier up in the tier 2 scene from being like they were like rank 70. Fuzi comes in, they just bump up in ranking, do super well, qualifying for lands, and they don't get to play the LAN which he qualified to. I think that's it's disgusting to me. Like, I would be so freaking mad if that happened to me.
Unacceptable, horrible, low level shit. Let's move away from
Infuriating.
the nasty stuff and the sad stuff, and we'll end the news on some very positive stuff, because it's even about Swedish Counter-Strike, Devilwalk.
Yay!
Male 09 is unstoppable. At just 16 years old, the Swedish prodigy has already written his name into FPL history, becoming the youngest ever triple champion.
Yep.
Dude is good.
And I forgot to add something to this. He recently, I think it was yesterday or today, he actually took the most elo on FaceIt as well. So he's number 1 on FaceIt right now. And if he keeps
how much elo is that?
He has 4,860 elo right now. And
that's even after the reset.
If he holds the top spot until the end of the season, he'll become the youngest FaceIt champion in history, breaking the record held by Donk by 6 months and 9 days. That's
this is the super. By the way, does he speak good English? You Swedes should obviously all speak good English.
Yeah, we actually met him with B&E in the Godsent office.
Really?
Yeah. He stopped by. We gave him some jerseys and stuff. Yeah.
So let me apologize in advance. Abdi, the coach of Metasport, he knows I've seen him now so many events. When I always speak to him, I love this guy.
Yeah,
but you got to get this kid off Metasport. You got to get Mail off Metasport. He's got to go somewhere else. If he's this good at 16, he can't be staying on Metasport.
You know, I've been hyping him up as the last hope. It's like the last Jedi of Sweden.
Bro, how did he come up during such a messy time as well? Fair play to him.
Yeah.
That on its own is impressive. All the shit he's had to go through.
But I will say he has an incredible support system in his family. His dad, mom, they been kind of managing him, doing content for him.
Good.
Like,
did his dad play CS?
I think he does now, but I think he's just like super genuine, supportive. guy who wants to push his son to do whatever he wants to do, you know?
That's
Um,
dope.
he's very well known in the Swedish scene, and they have such a nice like kind of family. They watch his games, they share along, and yeah, he has a great support system. So I think that's a big reason as well why he's this young and so
Yeah,
capable is because he has a great support system in his family as well. So a little bit of a shout out to them as well.
that's epic, man. We need to see that. But yeah, I'm sorry, Medisport. He needs to go to a better team.
He needs to
You
save
got to let
Swedish
him
Counter Strike.
single-handedly.
Yeah,
Swedish
1v9.
donk. Swedish donk. Let's go. They can't. We can't say everyone's donk this, donk
No,
that,
no, no,
but
no.
it's damn impressive. What that? And he's 16, man. That's so good. Now it's gonna be hard for me to talk about DraculaN. I didn't watch any of it, but we can just quickly just say, obviously, we already said it in the show, but Fnatic won.
Yep.
And I don't know how many VRS points they gained, but like their run here, they beat Ents, Eyeballers, Monty, and then Monty again in the final, beating even the score they had previously.
Yep.
In the VRS, they're now 21st, which is really good. Where are they on VRS for
So
Europe?
before the event,
VRS,
they were at least ranked 34. I'm not sure that's.
they would get a stage 1 invite currently.
Yeah, we're gonna see them at
That's
Major, man.
awesome. That's awesome. That's so needed.
And it's kind of crazy. They kind of gotten better since Matt is left. In a like better,
Yeah.
maybe it's the wrong word. They got the right opportunities at the right time now with Cypher coming in and doing well.
And the LAN events and stuff, yeah, and all that popping up. That's positive. That's really positive for Fnatic. Especially because it looked like they're an organization that would have no say in CS or nothing to show for it. If you go back with the crazy decisions.
Yep.
I actually saw Khan when I was at the Esports World Cup. Funny enough, I bumped into him. And I said, "Oh, this CS team is looking better." And he's like, "Don't say it yet. Don't get too ahead of yourself." And I'm like, "No, this is looking good." Now he can say it's looking good. Now he can. All right, let's do Q&A and get this show wrapped up, mate.
Yes.
Let's get so I'll read this out because it looks like one you will be answering in more. He said, "Follow up from previous episode. I love that you've come back, Mars. Welcome back. Hey guys, follow up to my previous question. I should have been a little more specific, but mainly hoping to go into either the broadcast side, like working the camera, or in-game ops work, or into an analyst coaching position for a team. I definitely have the passion for CS. It's been my life since 2018. C9's win in Boston. I feel I'm fairly knowledgeable about the game, passionate for esports as a whole. Any comments or feedback, just speaking on some more hidden roles in tournament production would be greatly appreciated. And one more, do you think Liquid will consider roster changes mid-season if they continue to come up short in important games or fail to qualify for any other events? If they fail to qualify for the major, I expect to see them make a change instantly.
That's not really mid-season though, but kind of, I guess. It's
Well, yeah, when they get if the invites go out and they're not in the invite section,
yeah,
then it has to be, right? They have to
instantly.
already be quickly on top of it. But then you also need to wait for other teams to be changing players or whatever else is going to happen, right? So it's looking dire for Liquid right now, I'll say, Mr. Mars. For observing work, by the way, try reach out to Chev if you can. I think he's quite responsive. He's like a down to earth guy.
Yeah.
He's
Chev
the
is
best observer in the
amazing.
game.
Yeah, Chev is amazing.
But I will say this: like, try and, if you can, observe at some smaller events to get some experience and show yourself. And observing is just in the quality you will provide to make the commentators do a better job and the viewers see all the things they need to see.
But
and it's not just catching kills.
incredibly important job.
Oh, it's so hard. And you also have to have such good game knowledge. Like, you almost have to have an idea to predict where the action's going to happen before it happens, you know?
Yeah.
And you're telling the story at the same time. Observers, I still think, are one of the least hyped up jobs, but it's one of the most important. Without good observers, like, I'll tell you this, when I was first doing CS, I was observing and commentating myself. Like, I was doing both at the same time. He said working the cameras and stuff. I think I can't really touch on working the camera too much, but a lot of the camera guys I see, they've come from other sports or they know someone already they're in. Like, these are some old guys because you just generally there are some younger ones, but I mean,
I don't think I've met anyone in
these are people who
esports
have
who
experience.
have went to camera work from esports side.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like everyone I normally meet is like camera guys, you know, that's
Yeah.
it. So on that bit, I sadly can't help. What can you add on the like analyst coaching stuff? Because that's a whole different kettle of fish. It's a very
I
wide
mean, the
spin.
analyst coaching stuff, I think you just have to join a team and, be ready to help them and see how things are gonna, shape up. And I mean, it's pure word of mouth in this game, especially in the lower kind of scene. You
What
just
about
kind of have to.
starting?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll tell you like this. I swear there are gonna be teams that don't have an analyst. You're gonna be able to
Mm-hmm.
join them for free. Just kind of prove yourself, see how things are working out, what you can provide, how you can help them, and then eventually climb the ladder. I think you have to kind of be prepared to not get paid for you to get paid
Yeah,
eventually. If you're gonna
we've had
take
that
that
conversation
route.
before.
So I think you can just message people, do you need an analyst? And then you can kind of, I think most analysts, I've had a bunch of people kind of messaging me, and they usually have kind of a written report of a demo review, um,
Mm-hmm.
where they kind of break down the plays and what you could counter and how you could solve some solutions to problems of facing them or how they could have done things differently. And you kind of read through that document. And one thing is also having kind of a how would you prepare the team, like, so if you know what information you would give to players or how you would show in a day-to-day basis, because there's a lot of games of Counter-Strike, let's just put it that way, and especially in the
Oh
tier 2
yes,
tier 3 scene, they're playing games every single day. So to be able to kind of quickly and concentrated give information without overwhelming people, how would you prepare
easy to
a team
digest.
for a game in an easy way to digest? Yes, and kind of
Yeah,
have that in. Just send, spam people, and maybe you'll get a good gig.
spam within reason.
Yeah.
uh, I will say it's a good ending to the episode on that. Hopefully that helps you a bit, Mars, as well. For everyone still watching and listening wherever you are in the world, I was low on energy. I got a mega carry from Devilwalk this time. I think this is the most I spoke over you because I'm just fried. There's like I can't do back to back days with my son into podcast into multiple nights of no sleep. I
Parenting
think
is
I've had
hard.
parent. Yep. If you're gonna have kids, be ready for all of this. It doesn't get easier. He's 9 now and still doesn't get easier. He dropped by the way to sleep on the bed, like on our bed, and I was just jealous looking at him like, oh yeah, it's easy for you. Just sit there and just snuggle up and go to bed. Like, got nothing else you need to do or worry about. Yeah, that's just it. But yeah, apologies for me on low energy for this one. But next episode we'll be back firing on all cylinders. I'll be back at home as well. Maybe we film from I don't know. No, I won't even say what we're
I
gonna do
might
yet.
have a new
But
camera.
oh, you might. Yeah, hopefully,
Might.
hopefully. And then the other thing I was gonna say is, oh yeah, we're like nearly 750,000 views on YouTube. A lot of that's also people watching on the shorts and stuff as well. So if you're enjoying the short content, please let us know in the comments because I know people listen to this and give us some feedback. If you're liking the short content and stuff like that, we'll keep pumping it out. Seems to be working. Just easier
If
digestible.
you
People
really
love the
want short
TikToky
content,
stuff.
you should go to our TikTok,
Oh yes.
because
You know what the
we
TikTok
want
is?
more. Huh?
Do you remember what the TikTok is?
It's all about CS podcast.
There we go. Thank you very much, Devil. Yeah. So follow that, subscribe. All of it means so much. Like we're constantly growing, we're constantly evolving. We still dream and plan to eventually, probably next year, maybe after a year of doing the podcast, do a live show as well, an event. We'll wait and see how it happens. Hopefully do an in-person one soon as well. We'll have to wait. But big plans always. And we'll have our next guest on within the month, I think, from what we're thinking.
Yeah.
From your recent conversations.
Yes. Hopefully we will have another guest within
We
this
got some
month.
plans. We got some
We'll
plans.
probably have to
It
talk
should be
about
good.
that once we end this actual episode.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. As always, this has been the All About Counter-Strike podcast, episode 24. Like, subscribe, look after yourselves, enjoy Blast, Open London playoffs. It's going to be epic in the OVO Arena. I'm looking forward to seeing all the crazy British fans out there. And stay safe, keep playing Counter-Strike, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.